Hello again, Dr. William Painter here with Journey Road Ministries on this fourth Sunday of Advent. I'm going to do a song today. I'm going to do a Christmas carol. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do a Christmas carol because I can, and because this Christmas carol is particularly relevant. You're going to say, oh, well, aren't all Christmas carols relevant? Well, yes and no, maybe. I don't know. But this one certainly is, and it's relevant to the sermon today. So if you wouldn't mind bearing with me as I plunk through this song. It's What Child Is This? And we're just going to do it and then hope for the best. Child is this who lay to rest on Mary's lap is sleeping, whom angels greet with anthems sweet, while shepherds watch are keeping. This is Christ the King, whom shepherds guard and angels sing. Haste, haste to bring him, Lord, the babe, the Son of Mary. Why lies he in such a mean estate, where ox and ass are feeding? Good Christians fear for sinners here. The silent world is bleeding. Nails, spears shall pierce him through. The cross be borne for me. Hail, hail, Word made flesh, the babe, the Son of Mary. So bring him incense, gold, and myrrh. Come, peasant king, to own him, the King of kings. Salvation brings. Let loving hearts enthrone him. Raise, raise a song on high. A virgin sings her lullaby. Joy, joy, for Christ is born, the babe, the Son of Mary. Well, I made it through. I tickle myself doing this stuff. Reason I chose that song is because Jesus is referred to in this song. It's not the son of Joseph, and not the son of God, but as the son of Mary. Just let that sink in, and I'll catch you on. Okay, here we are. We're back, or I'm back. I don't know if you're back or not, but I'm back. This is the fourth Sunday of Advent. And the readings come from Matthew chapter 1, verses 18 to 25. Now, the birth of Jesus the Messiah took place in this way. When his mother Mary had been engaged to Joseph, but before they lived together, she was found to be with child from the Holy Spirit. Her husband Joseph, being a righteous man and unwilling to expose her to public disgrace, planned to dismiss her quietly. But just when he had resolved to do so, an angel of the Lord appeared to him in a dream and said, Joseph, son of David, do not be afraid to take Mary as your wife, for the child conceived in her is from the Holy Spirit. She will bear a son, and you are to name him Jesus, for he will save his people from their sins. All this took place to fulfill what had been spoken by the Lord through the prophet. Look, the virgin shall conceive and bear a son, and they shall name him Emmanuel, which means God is with us. When Joseph awoke from sleep, he did as the angel of the Lord commanded him. He took her as his wife, but had no marital relations with her until she had borne a son, and he named him Jesus. Thus endeth the gospel. Right, so he didn't name him Jesus, first of all, because, well, Jesus is a Romanized name of Yeshua. So we have allowed, and I really hate this, we have allowed the oppressors and murderers of Jesus to name him. I just think that's all kinds of wrong. It's like it's like when we don't let Chinese folks have their real names, so they say, well, my name's Je Fu, and so Americans, they can't say that, so the Chinese say, yeah, but my American name's Joe. Well, okay, fine, yeah, all right, I get it, but it's not his name. And so this this child was named Yeshua or Joshua, which means saved by Yahweh. And the other thing is that, and that's why I like doing this at Christmas, because he wasn't born at Christmas. He wasn't born. He may have been born any other day of the year, but he was definitely not born December 25th. So that's just right out. That's simply Christianity taking over, setting its rituals and on top of a pagan annual ritual, that involves Christmas trees. I once had a long argument with my mother-in-law over whether Christmas trees were pagan or not. And I said, well, this got nothing to do with Christianity at all. It's got to do with Germanic, green for renewal and all that stuff. She goes, no, it's Christians because it's a Christmas tree. I'm like, yeah, well, okay, Jesus wasn't born on Christmas. Oh, you can't say things like that. He wasn't. Okay, and continuing that theme, Mary wasn't a virgin. I mean, not in the strict physiological sense. That's not what they're saying here. I mean, she may have been. Well, she probably wasn't, in fact, because she's pregnant. And you can say all you want to about the Holy Spirit and stuff, but Jesus never claimed to be, he never claimed any of that stuff. And this song, what child is this? It was born of Mary, the son of Mary. It doesn't say the son of Joseph, and that is really a remarkable comment to make in a society that was so heavily patriarchal that women were treated almost like property. And so here is Mary and Joseph. They've agreed. They've got an arranged marriage, okay, a contractual marriage, and so they're engaged. It's not like, oh, we fell in love and we got engaged. No, it was because their dad set this up because it's a patriarchal society, and somehow, some way, Mary ends up pregnant. And Joseph's he's a super nice guy, right? He doesn't berate her. He doesn't shame her. He just wants to, maybe this isn't, maybe I shouldn't be doing this. He's a good Torah Jew, okay? And he knows that he probably shouldn't be. There are going to be questions. Questions will be asked, right? When she gives birth before they get married. Or soon after. I'm not sure exactly when their marriage date was. But, it was, as we say in the States, it was a 3-month baby, We also call those shotgun weddings. So Jesus was an illegitimate child. He wasn't the child. He was not the child of Joseph and Mary. And I don't know who his father was. Nobody knows who his father was. They know who his mother is. It's my grandmother my grandmother and my grandfather on my father's side had 13 children. And my grandfather was gone a lot. But apparently he made it back once a year. And he teased his wife. He says, you always know who the mother is, but you can never be sure who the father is. And it made her so mad. It made her really mad. And that's why he said it. But it's true. I mean, now we can validate that with DNA testing and so on and so forth now. But, in year zero, common time, the common era, Jesus, there was no DNA stuff, all right? And so there have been, and I read about this, some people have written that maybe she was raped by a Roman soldier. It doesn't matter. Okay, it doesn't matter one iota, and she certainly was. There's a tradition in Catholicism that says she remained a virgin in spite of giving birth to brothers and sisters of Jesus. I mean, wow, I don't even know. Being a virgin is simply the Hebrew is simply means a young girl. Okay, a young girl. She was a young girl. And then she was a young girl, okay? Whether she was a virgin in our sense of she has never had penetrated sex, I mean, let's just call her a young girl and leave it at that, because that's what she was. She was a young girl, and she's pregnant, and she's contracted to be married to this other guy who's not the father of this child. And that makes Jesus a bastard. That makes Jesus illegitimate. Now, I hate those words. I hate the words bastard, and I hate the words illegitimate, because every human being is legitimate. But let me tell you a story. This guy was in West Virginia, the hills of West Virginia. This old man, he goes up to this couple this couple eating at a diner, and the guy is in his his ministerial gowns, wearing a collar, and this old fella comes up to him. He says, I want you to know, I'm going to tell you something. He said, I was born an illegitimate child, and I was bullied or I was ignored for all my years in this little town. And of course, all the towns were little, in ancient Israel. And he says, I was bullied in this West Virginia little town. Everybody knew. Everybody wondered who my daddy was. And they kept saying, who do you look like? And I never knew who my father was. And I was shamed in church. And finally, one day I went to this church, and the minister came up to me, and he has put his arm on my shoulder, and he said to me, what's bothering you? And I told him that I was illegitimate, and I'm always being punished for that. And this minister said, well, you're a child of God, so you just keep on being a child of God, and you're going to be great. And the old man said, from that point forward, it changed my life, because I knew I was a child of God. I knew who my father was. Well, by golly, that's exactly what's going on here. Jesus didn't know who his father was. Mary, I don't know if she knew or not. There's no mention. They sort of make up this magical thing about the Holy Spirit and about being a child of God. There's several passages in the New Testament where the Jews are saying, well, we're not bastards, you are. Well, they didn't say you are, but they, we're not the bastards, implying that you are. There's several references to the illegitimacy of Jesus. And the beautiful thing about that element of Christmas is that this lowest of the low, this person who is going to be outcast, who is going to be shamed, who's going to be bullied, is the Messiah. Just like last week when we said, John the Baptist, was the greatest prophet, but in the kingdom of heaven, he is the least. And here is the least person, an illegitimate child of a carpenter, who is the Messiah, who is the bringer of good news, the son of Mary. Now, maybe you're going to say, oh, that's blasphemy. Oh, you can't say that stuff at Christmas. You're going to ruin Christmas. Well, if that's what it takes to ruin Christmas, you ain't got much of a Christmas. All right? And that's one of the reasons that I don't really fit in with most churches, because I know that this is true. I know that it fits everything he does, hanging out with the lepers, hanging out with the poor, being crucified between two thieves, being crucified, which is a horrible, terrible punishment, a horrible way to die for doing nothing more than telling people to love God and love your neighbor.
Well, that and sticking his finger in the eye of all the powers that be, the institutionalized religion. So remember this Christmas, is that you are a child of God. And you have an inheritance there, just like that old man in West Virginia. You inherit the kingdom of heaven as your rightful inheritance. So live in it, build it, be it, do it, and have a merry, merry Christmas.